the state of the education sector, and I'm privileged to be joined by the National Action for Quality Education in Zambia, NAQEZ Executive Director, Dr. Aaron Chansa. Doc, good morning and welcome to Chatback.
Thank you so much, Angel. It's been a while.
Yep, it's been a while. Where have you been hiding?
A lot of things.
Yeah.
We have been here and there. Last month I was in Madagascar attending a SADC NGO conference where a number of issues about Southern Africa were raised.
Yeah.
One of them was the quality of education in Southern African countries. And what is coming out clearly is that learning poverty is actually very high in countries like Zambia, where we are badly trending at 98% of young people at 10 years are not able to read and write. And we called on our governments to spend more money.
98%?
Yes. So
of our learners 10 years and below?
Even those that are not in school, as long as they are 10 years old, meaning that they should be in grade 3, grade 4, they can't write and read. And you know that if you can't read and write, then you can't learn.
Yeah, I know free education has only been here for some time, but one may have thought maybe those figures would have reduced.
Actually, because of the overcrowding, what is happening in our schools is not learning actually. We seem to be stuck with what I call quantity education, not quality. I was speaking somewhere on Monday where I said when I was in grade 10 up to grade 12 at Mongwi Technical School, I remember we were 26 in that class. Grade 8 U, I remember in 1995.
That's a pure class.
Yeah, that was grade 8.
Oh, grade 8.
Then grade 10, I was in 10-5 at Mongwi. We were about 30. That was now a pure class.
Yeah.
So from grade 10 up to grade 12, literally all our teachers knew our names. They knew our parents, they knew our abilities. Those who needed help were helped. And that's why most of us who came from that class, from that school, are making a difference in Zambia. You find the judges, lawyers, teachers, engineers. I'm one of those that could be counted. But today, Angel, we can walk after this program. We go to Kalingalinga Primary School here. I can give you 200 kwacha if you can find a class with less than 30 pupils. I can even give you 1,000 because I know you can't find such a class. That's where we are today.
Yeah, but also, and perhaps these have also been your findings as NAQEZ. We've seen quite a number of statements that have talked about how that there's a lot of quantity education as opposed to quality education. So with a free education policy, do you think this has made it worse? Or perhaps it is a good problem that is not being sorted out, quickly?
You know, when that question comes, it provokes different responses depending on who you're asking. If you ask the president and the Minister of Education, they will tell you that this is a good problem. If you ask a number of people that are listening to us, was free education a good policy to start in 2022? I'm sure a lot of people will say yes. I would also say yes. Allowing more than 2 million people, children, to get back into the public schooling system is a good thing. Now, education is at 2 levels. It is at access and also at quality. So when you allow pupils or learners or children to get into public schools, and you find them in schools, they are seated or either on the desk or on the floor. Teachers are standing in front. In a classroom block, they go for break, they knock off. That is access. But NAQEZ, and I'm sure a lot of our people may not be interested so much in just access. We are interested in having learners in school, but also in the skills, in the competencies, in the values that the learners are acquiring as a result of sitting in a class. It's not just a matter of leaving homes and getting into school and getting back home, and yet you can't read when you are 10 years. And yet you can't read when you are in grade 8, grade 7.
It defeats the whole purpose.
It doesn't make any sense. And there is no country, at least I've traveled, which has developed with such kind of education.
Free education?
No, free education can be there. For example, in Finland, in Seychelles, there's free education. So many other countries. And they don't just provide free education. They make sure, for example, in Seychelles, they'll give you books. They'll subsidize your transport. If you're spending 10 kwacha per day, they'll give you 5 kwacha. They'll give you free meals from grade 1 up to grade 7, at secondary.
Yeah.
They'll subsidize your...
It's free education in totality.
Yes, they'll subsidize your laptop. And they'll make sure that laptops are there, computers are there, textbooks are there. But in our case, it's a totally different free education. Of course, this administration has tried maybe to extend it to 60% free education, because when you don't pay school fees, you don't pay exam fees, those are not the only costs that are associated with education. There's the aspect of transport, the aspect of shoes, books, pens, the aspect of transport, the aspect of meals. So those are associated costs to education. But for me, I think we need to move from this debate of just access. We need to go to the next stage. To quality.
Now, Doc, you understand that this quality... Looking at the dynamics in which we are in, free education was introduced in 2022.
Yeah.
Right? Classrooms are overcrowded. With government, they've said this is a good problem. But perhaps for us to come out of this problem is going to require so many years, because then there has to be mass construction of our classrooms, more schools perhaps, and also teacher to pupil ratio has been an issue. Yeah. But with government, they've said, look, it's not like we have so much money that we can employ the 10,000 teachers that NAQEZ wants. We're going to be doing this in a phased manner. So with education, is there a possibility of maybe we suffer a little bit now, and then perhaps maybe after 10 to 15 years, then we're going to be at a better place? But also the argument is 10 to 15 years, what sort of learners are we going to be channeling out to society? So is there such as, let's suffer maybe a little bit now and we'll get better perhaps 10 to 15, 20 years?
Quite interesting question. And I want to be very straightforward that education, quality education, will not wait for politicians to make such decisions as let's wait. Because today, Angel, I will tell you that this free education, and I keep saying this, is not for the rich people. It's education for the poor. If you go into the Tuashuka in Kanyama, you go at Kalingalinga here, you will not ask any teacher if there is a learner for a minister, a child for a minister. If there is a child for a permanent secretary or the president, you can't find such. Today, 2023, I remember the president making a decree that no one must sit on the floor in classes. Today, we still have learners sitting on the floor. Can we say that Zambia is so poor that we can't buy desks? Today, as I speak to you, the new curriculum has got no textbooks. Can we say that Zambia is so poor not to have textbooks? How come ministers' children are going to private schools and mission schools? Why are we not seeing children of permanent secretaries going to these public schools, government schools, so that they can also sit on the floor? So that tells you a big story. And if I were a president myself, I would not allow children of ministers to go to private schools? Why should they run schools where they're not taking their children?
So I think the president should compel these ministers, take your children to
government schools.
So
yes,
that you
feel it.
You feel free education.
Yes, when you are standing on the podium to praise free education, you must do so with a straightforward conscience that my child also is at Kalingalinga. Why should you praise free education when your children are at Rodspark and other private schools? So we need to be very, very careful when we praise free education. It's a very good thing, but there are certain things that government should have done better. For example, I'll give you a very clear example. We began reviewing the curriculum in 2022, I remember. We were called by the Ministry of Education to tell us that this process was starting. NAQEZ made submissions to this change, and I'm happy that most of our submissions as NAQEZ have actually been adopted in the new curriculum. It's a very, very good document. But can you imagine that in 2024 national budget, the Ministry of Education did not put any budget line for budget development, for curriculum development? Nothing, 2024 budget. That meant that we missed an opportunity to be able to put money in that national document to train teachers, for example, develop new teaching and learning materials. That's why up to now, you can go to any school. You can ask the PS. You can ask the minister. There are no textbooks for the new curriculum. No, we don't have. And last term, there was something that disturbed me, where the ministry withdrew or withheld some amounts of money from the school grants, purporting that they would use those monies for procuring new materials. But up to today, those materials are not in schools. And as I speak to you, school grants are not yet in schools. That's for term 3, yes. And remember that schools opened, is it 3 weeks ago? And that signifies or symbolizes lack of seriousness on the part of...
So do you feel free education is failing?
Not a clear no, but I think we have seen gaps some government has been able to bridge. For example, I've seen CDF doing a lot to make sure that desks are provided, but clearly CDF is not adequate. There has been this over-dependence on CDF. We hoped that government was going to be more proactive, increase funding to education to the tune of 20%. Remember, Zambia is part to a lot of global educational treaties that are binding, that UN member states should be able to spend at least 20% of national budgets to education. Today, as I speak to you, we are sitting at 14.5%. The UPND administration has never spent more than 16% to education. And that's why on Sunday, we issued a statement demanding for 20% funding to education, because we know that with that allocation, we can be able to sort out a number of issues, including motivating our teachers. The president has been all over promising teachers that his government was going to upgrade the salary scales for teachers. We have seen the Minister of Finance in 2023, the 2023 national budget speech. If you check page 28, the Minister of Education was very categorical that the PF government failed to motivate the teachers. His government had put in place money to be able to motivate teachers. And teachers were very excited. I was very happy because I fought for teachers throughout. I've risked my life to speak for teachers. And I thought that that speech was very good for teachers, because if you motivate a teacher, you are assured that the teacher is going to perform at their maximum. Your productivity increases and learning outcomes actually are positively affected. That never came to pass. Very few teachers have been upgraded, and teachers have been complaining. If I show you the complaints, teachers are not happy. And I expect that the Minister of Finance can do justice
and
for
most
2026.
Definitely we'll get into the upgrades and also teacher replacements.
Yeah.
So lastly, on free education, you haven't really given me something substantial. From the many complaints that are coming through, teacher to pupil ratio, no textbooks, new curriculum, we have free education, overcrowding, there's a quantity education that we're giving over quality education. One may think that the scale is tilting towards that free education is not giving us the fruits that perhaps we should be getting. Yes, it is a good thing. Majority of our children are in schools, but there are these challenges. So for you, where is the scale tilting towards more? Has it failed or it's doing good?
As I said, education is at two levels. At access level, we are doing very fine. Learners are able to go to school. So I can give it 95+%. We are doing very, very, very well. We are one of the best in terms of affording education to the children. But on the aspect of quality, we are doing very badly. If you look at the...
And for you, education is about what? Is it about access or quality?
It's about both. For you to have quality, you must access it. So the first point is the entry point. You need to avail this
so if
service.
The first point is the entry point, then it's access, meaning then free education is working.
Yeah, free education is good, as I said, because everyone must be able to access education, and the government has a primary responsibility to actually avail education to all the citizens. So at that level, you cannot say it's bad to avail education. Then it's like you go to the hospital. You are sick. You need to have a clinic or a hospital nearby where you stay.
You have to access it.
You need to access it. Yeah. But when you go there now, you need to look at the quality of the service. Yes. Right. So now, if you look at the aspect of quality, this is where now we come in as NAQEZ.
Very, very quickly, as recommendations are 4 years, 2022, 23, 24. It's 25. So we would say 4 years, right?
Yes.
4 years of free education. What would be your quick recommendations to ensure that we address these gaps? And also, realistically, if you are going to give it a time frame, how many years do you think it's going to require for us to address these gaps with regards to free education?
Firstly, I would commend government for the board decision to declare free education, because in Africa, I think we only have about 5 countries that are doing that: Botswana, Ghana, Tanzania, Seychelles, and I think Zambia. And therefore, on that score, I would commend government, but recommend that government increases the funding to education, so that the grants that go to schools should not delay, should also be increased, especially for primary schools. The grants have not been adequate. So I would also advise government to actually abolish TV levy and introduce education levy. If I were minister, if I were president, this would be done because depending on the national budget alone is not enough. We need Plan B. And Plan B is abolishing TV levy, introducing education levy, so that all of us as citizens, instead of paying TV levy, we start paying education levy. When you go to buy electricity, you pay even 3/4 or 5/4 towards education, and then we can come up with an independent board that must be able to manage this fund.
Not the ministry?
Not the ministry, so that once we have an independent board, that money should not be abused. It must decide now whether to buy desks, to build houses for teachers, buy textbooks, so that we don't just depend on CDF. We must be able to use CDF, but also come up with Plan B. But also to say that there are certain challenges that have obtained as a result of this policy of free education. For example, overcrowding. What you do is that you can actually come up with a plan on how to liquidate these challenges. There are some that are short-term, others are medium-term, others are long-term. For example, desks. It is a short-term challenge. You can actually alleviate it within 2 years. We don't need to continue seeing learners beyond 2025, for example. It's a shame. It's a disaster. So that can be sorted out within 2 years. The aspect of textbooks also is a short-term problem. You can't have a new curriculum without textbooks. It's a scandal. So that can also be sorted out within the short-term period. But for infrastructure, if I said within 2 years, I would be over-ambitious. I think if we said 6 years, that would be big. That would be realistic. We should be able to expand classroom infrastructure using the national budget, using education levy and also CDF to be able to decongest the few existing classes. At the moment, I don't see CDF doing that miracle. It's not adequate to cater for all the problems that the sector faces.
Yeah, human resource.
In terms of teacher recruitment, I must say that government has tried, but surprisingly, if you remember 2022, we had 30,000 plus teachers. Yes. The next year we had 7,200. The other year we had 4,500. This year we have 2,000. So you can see that government is not maintaining the momentum of teacher recruitment. And yet, Angel, we have more than 60,000 spaces for teachers. We are in deficit, actually. We need these teachers, especially in rural areas, to go and beef up the staffing levels. And the other statistic that is also interesting to you and me, and also the listeners and the viewers, is the attrition rate. The number of teachers that are leaving the system because of resignations, deaths, and also retirements. Over 6,000 teachers are actually leaving the teaching system in government, and you can't recruit 2,000.
That's every year?
Every year, yes. So if you lose 6,000 and then you recruit 2,000, it means you have lost 4,000 teachers, according to my statistics. If you lose 6,000 and then you recruit 2,000, what have you done? You've not done anything. Actually, you've actually placed, and you have actually lost 4,000.
Yeah, but also, I know you've talked about how that government is losing momentum, but to their defense, they'll say that, Doc, let's be very honest. Perhaps maybe since the Kaunda days, 30,000 was the biggest number of teachers that we saw that were being recruited. Advertised, names published, and for them, that's a major milestone. So anything after that is just perhaps maybe to complement, to supplement to the huge number that they recruited, 30,000.
As I said just, I think a minute ago, I commended government for that recruitment. And my expectation was that they were going to keep up the momentum because...
Of 30,000 every year?
No, at least 20, 15, because just last year, the Minister of Education said the ministry needed about 70,000 teachers. So if you are recruiting 2,000, when are you going to have 70,000?
Especially with free education now.
Yes. So in as much as what was done in 2022 was commendable, it's like you're a parent. This day you go with sweets, you go with biscuits, drinks. Your children will be happy. But that does not mean that tomorrow or the other day you cannot go with the same items, because those are always needed by children. So the system still needs teachers. So recruiting once and you begin to recruit less than you are losing defeats the purpose. And then the same ministry says they need about 70,000. So it's a matter of numbers. Numbers don't lie. The statistics are there in the statistical bulletin of the ministry that teachers are being lost at that level. Teachers are needed. If you go to rural areas, you will see that there are 3 teachers at a school 1 to 7, and then there are 40, 50, 100 learners in that class. How will 2 teachers, 3 teachers teach those classes? It is not possible. So in as much as government recruited, it needed to maintain the numbers so that maybe over a period of 10 years, we could have sorted out the issue of teacher-pupil ratios, reduced to the standard of 1 teacher to 45 learners. We must be able to move towards the 2030. You know, there's a vision 2030.
Yeah.
There's also SDG number 4. Zambia signed that it was going to actually meet the 10 targets of SDG number 4. And one of the targets that the government is missing is on quality.
Yeah, quality. But also, Doc, every time we see the national budgets, one is going to be presented on Friday, 26 September. And every time we look at these documents that were given, the budgets just look too tight. It already looks constrained. And now you're thinking, is it even feasible for us to sustain 20,000 or 15,000 teachers every year? Is there anything else that we can do, looking at how that the budget is already tight, and the answers that we get from government, even with the teacher upgrades, is that we just don't have money to upgrade all these teachers. We'll have to be doing this in a phased manner. That will take so many years.
From Sunday to today, I've been attending a SADC conference here in Lusaka at Intercontinental, where we had delegates from different countries, and I was chatting with a friend from Malawi. I drove him around Lusaka, and he appreciated what he was able to see compared to Lilongwe.
Sure, you also talked about the elections in Malawi.
Yes.
No, we don't want to.
I don't want to go there.
The outcome of that conversation.
So he told me that yes, Lusaka is better than Lilongwe, but you people could have done better because this country is very rich in terms of minerals. Malawi has no minerals. When you go to Malawi, you find that they don't even have a fertilizer producing a plant. They don't have a cement producing plant, and they use those small bricks. And you understand them because they don't have resources to be able to build such infrastructure. But here in Zambia, NGO, we don't have an excuse. It shocks me that for 4 years, government has given mining houses tax holidays. How would you sustain free education when your biggest industry is not paying taxes? How would you manage that? And how would you, this country, in my view, we play a lot. We are not serious. How do you have, in a small town of Kafue, a district commissioner and a council chairperson? You give them a car, you give them cars, you give them a secretary. Why would we be so wasteful in this country that we can even have district commissioners? Why don't we do away with those, save money for education? Why don't we close some of the embassies? I heard the president complaining. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
When he was saying,
should have been the other day.
Yes, when he was saying some of the ambassadors have not brought anything to this country. We have kept these people in the foreign missions for doing nothing. Why not close those things and save money for education?
Paying them a lot of money.
Yes. Why should we have, for example, Minister of Green Economy, Minister of Small Scale? What have those ministries done for this country? Why not close them and save money for education? So for me, it's not about lack of resources. It's lack of priorities. And I'll be writing a book very soon, if I were president of this country, what I would do for this country. Not being political, but I will be sharing ideas of how, for example, we can save resources to be able to build universities in all the provinces. Make sure that all schools have power, either solar or hydro. All schools have computers. All teachers are upgraded. Those are some of the things that the president must be able to speak to during the national budget that the minister will be presenting after tomorrow.
Yeah.
We are not short of resources, NGO. In this country, we have got gold, we have sugilite, we have copper, and we are told we have now invested. I think I heard was it yesterday that in the history of this country, this is the highest investment that we have seen in the copper subsector. But what are the benefits for the country? What are we benefiting from this mining sector? So we must be able to reflect as a country.
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
we can't
and
be.
every time we have investments at DOC, when these are multinationals, it's very difficult to see the benefits because at the end of the day, these monies don't end up in here, but there's a lot of externalization by multinationals, of course.
Yes.
But let's also quickly get to another point. I know we're running out of time. The last time that we had you, I know we have to get to teacher replacements and recruitments. The last time that we had you, after that, we heard in the media of how that your organization, the National Action for Quality Education of Zambia, NAQEZ, was sort of threatened for closure. This was after you appealed to teachers across the country to have a nationwide strike.
For the unions.
For the unions.
Yeah.
For teacher upgrades, right?
Yeah.
And we saw that you're in the news and NAQEZ was earmarked. I don't know if it was imminent or it was going there, that you're going to be closed as an organization. What is the latest with regards to that particular conversation? Because it was quite strong, because it came from the Ministry of Education. What is the latest with regards to that particular issue?
I must say that...
And also, what were the reasons that were given that you should be closed down as an organization?
Actually, that came from Registrar of Societies.
Registrar of Societies.
Yeah, not the Minister of Education, because we're not controlled by... We're not regulated by the ministry, but by the Registrar of Society, because that's where we are registered. And
I beg your pardon, Registrar of Societies.
Registrar of Societies, yeah. Yes. So 10 years ago, I made a decision to stand up for quality education. I've decided never to be compromised. I know a lot of organizations have gone into hiding. They have stopped talking for teachers. They have stopped talking for quality education. But NAQEZ has stood still, regardless of the party in power. If you remember, during the PF, we used to speak very strongly. And there were stories that I was sponsored by UPND. I didn't bother because I knew I was speaking for things that were real. I was speaking for teachers, I was speaking for learners, I was speaking for quality education. And even after change of government, those issues have remained. So our interests are permanent. But there are some people who have been peddling lies. They would go to this government office. No, this person has political ambitions. This person is this, that. And I think we received that notification. But I think the reasons were not adequate. They were saying we are behaving like a union, and that was not what they wanted. They quoted certain pieces of laws, and we responded to that letter adequately, because we had the constitution that was approved by the same office. So we showed them where we were drawing our powers. We have a mandate. I think one of our objectives is to advance the welfare of teachers, which objective was approved by government, because you can't discuss quality education without the welfare of teachers. So we responded adequately, and that's how that issue was that it went. We've not heard from that office again.
So that issue has been put to rest.
It has been put to rest. It was just the issue that was blown in the media. We did not respond to the media because we were engaging the same office. And I hope that the registrar will not be able to be swayed again, because we have a mandate to speak for teachers.
So you feel there was some political interference?
A day before we got that letter, I saw something written by Max Moe insinuating that we were a PF project, which was very, very insulting, because we can't be a PF or any other party's wing. I think the country has followed me and NAQEZ, where we have spoken regardless of who is in power. Even after UPND goes, God willing, we'll still speak for teachers, we'll speak for learners. And our resolve was not affected. It was never affected. And I'm never shaken myself, because I know that we stand on firm ground, and I know that one day this country will remember the voice that spoke for quality education. So I've never been shaken, and I'll continue speaking for quality education.
Also, when you're going through that particular moment, we saw that some teacher unions, because I remember when you called for that particular strike, some teacher unions did not agree with you.
Yes.
To our surprise. And also when you pass through that moment, there were some rumors that some teacher unions were happy.
Exactly.
That NAQEZ talks too much. Perhaps maybe, that's the route to go. Were you surprised with your partners?
No.
I would call them partners, because at the end of the day, you champion the same agenda.
When we came on the scene, I think we became a threat to so many people. Teacher unions, some of them included, because to say the truth, majority teachers in this country values NAQEZ. They follow NAQEZ. They are members of NAQEZ. And in most cases, they would openly say NAQEZ is better than the teacher unions in many platforms, on many platforms.
It's not a teacher union.
It's not a teacher union. We just speak for teachers, speak for education, speak for these policies. Because when you talk about quality education, there are so many things involved in quality. So a lot of them have actually done a lot to damage NAQEZ. Even before UPND, they would go to this office, say this, especially about me. I used to get those things, but my mission is not to listen to detractors. I'm of the view that, when you are doing something, a lot of people come against. Even Jesus was actually betrayed. So some of the people in that industry are my friends. But I was very shocked to see some of them even holding a press conference instead of supporting what we advised. Actually, that was just an advice. It's like I tell you, this shirt you are wearing is very nice, but maybe go and reduce it here so that it fits you nicely. You can't go on radio or TV and say, no, what this man said to me, I can't. It's just advice. You take it or leave it. We advise them to say, since you have spoken for years without any tangible results, consider the option of a strike. And if you check articles, I think 15 up to 18 of the Labour and Industrial Relations Act, the issue of a strike is actually given in those pieces of those sections. In this country, we've had strikes. It's not illegal. It's not illegal to go on strike. It's actually very legal. So the unions could have kept quiet, or they could have done what we advise, because it's actually illegal. Now, if you followed the sentiments by the teachers, after what they said, teachers now turned against them to say, why are you speaking against NAQEZ when NAQEZ has spoken the truth?
I want you to give me an honest answer. From what you have seen, you've been in this industry for a very long time. The issue with teachers is that we belong to these teacher unions. All we just see is some money is being deducted from our pay slips. But in the actual sense, we don't see these teacher unions stand up for us. From what you have seen and the years that you've been in this industry, do you think teacher unions in the country speak adequately on behalf of the teacher?
No.
They don't?
No. They have actually abandoned their members. And if I was a teacher, I would not belong to any of the unions. It's not worth it. I'm being very, very honest. It's not worth it. But teachers have a right to belong to teacher unions. They also have a right not to belong. It's not mandatory. It's not compulsory. So actually, before I left government, I was not unionized for about 2-3 years. I left my union. But whenever there was an increment, I would get it. So teachers should read the law. And if they're not happy with their unions, they can resign. Give 3 months notice. But I grew up under Zanot and Sestus those days, if you remember, the days of Chilubas, the days of Shamendas, the days of Hikaumbas, where the ZCTU president would actually publicly differ with the president Mwanawasa. Those days of Zanot, when Zanot called for a strike in this country, the government shook. Today, there's no union that can stand up to differ with government. Even on a clear violation of, for example, collective agreements. I remember in 2021 actually, the government entered into some agreement with unions where there was that debt swap which was agreed. It was a signed a collective agreement. But the government abrogated it without consulting the unions. And there was no union that actually stood up for workers.
So, and what are the unions doing?
So what are they doing? Teachers have cried for debt relief. Teachers have cried for upgrades and also confirmations. And nobody stands up for.
So how do we bring back, this union? I remember way back when we would hear that our union, it was something serious.
Yes.
It was something that government would ultimately listen to and say, what is this? What are these people saying? We don't get that.
No.
More especially in the education sector. There's nothing.
No, it's the movement has technically died, if I were to say, to be honest. And I don't see it becoming alive again because these people have been compromised heavily. And unless members themselves rise up to demand for better, for democracy, for transparency, because, when you are getting money from members, public money, you need to be transparent. If I give you my example, we get membership fees from members. They subscribe, pay. Those that want, we don't force. Those who want to affiliate to NAQEZ, they come on their own. At the end of the year, we give a financial report. We give them. There's no member of NAQEZ who would say has never seen our report. But there's no member of any union who would tell you that they have seen a report, a financial report. There's no union does that. But every year, members are subscribing. I can't do it myself. I need to know how my money is being used.
When you're in that situation, lastly, you speak a lot for the teachers across the country.
Yeah.
When you were in that situation, when you're given that notice that NAQEZ should be deregistered, did you get the support that you may have wanted
yes.
from the teachers?
Exactly.
I didn't see it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, most of them, I know, for fear of being maybe targeted, maybe called, sent messages, came to the office. I've never received support like during that time. We received a lot of support, not only from the teachers, but from the diplomatic corps, from fellow NGO leaders, from.
Did you receive support from the media?
Yes,
I'm sure.
Yes. and also from few embassies, from some lawyers, civil rights activists. We received support from everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was very comforted to get that support. I realized that we've been doing something in this country, and that gave me the impetus actually to continue speaking. I was never afraid or shocked, but I knew that everywhere in this world, when you are doing something, you will receive some frictions.
What would be your word of advice to especially politicians to understand that the moment they take up these positions, these are positions of accountability?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, these are public resources,
Yeah.
and they will have to be accountable. And every time we quiz them for accountability, they shouldn't see it as we are competing against them, or we are against, or maybe we are aligned to a certain political party. What would be your word of advice? Because at the end of the day, we still have to do advocacy.
Yeah.
We still have to champion that things are better, and also that these politicians have to see us as partners of development and not enemies. Something the president has been very categorical about.
Firstly, one of our values as NAQEZ is non-partisanship. Personally, I've never been partisan, and I think I have a right to speak. I think Part 3 of our Constitution gives us the right to speak, to associate, and when we speak, we don't mean politics. We don't mean hatred. We are interested in the welfare of our country. And, civil society is part of democracy. You can't do away with civil society. Sometimes it may be uncomfortable, but the truth must be said. If you tell me that this shirt is smaller or is this, if it is true, I should not get annoyed. I only get annoyed if you tell me this shirt is blue when it is not. It's not. Because I will know that you are not speaking the truth. So when you talk about things that matter for education, government must be able to listen, and the government must be able to listen even to those that don't praise them, because usually praise will not build any society. Those that tell you the truth are the ones, if I were president or minister or PS, I would listen to, because those that praise me may not always tell the truth. Remember that story of a king, where a king was very feared. Nobody would advise, nobody would criticize. So one day he came naked out of the palace, and the praise singers clapped and said, Your Majesty, you look nice. And this man was naked. Nobody told him. It took the children actually, who were just passing by to tell him, King, you are naked. And it was very, very embarrassing to the king. So we should not allow praise singers, as they are called, to actually dictate. You must be able to listen to those that are telling the truth, even if they are not comfortable.
Yeah. So
this country is for all of us. We need to respect each other's lane. We value the space of government. We support government as NAQEZ, for instance. We've supported the curriculum development. We've supported a number of activities in this country, and we need to support. And so part of the support is to say, here we don't have desks, here we don't have textbooks, and government must rush to those spaces.
Are not being taken care
yes, that's the way we are going to support.
All right, awesome. Since 2022, you have just given us the numbers of the teacher recruitments that have happened to about this year, and also in between we've seen teacher replacements.
Yeah.
As NAQEZ, what have been your findings with regards to recruitment, transparency, and accountability? How would you rate the transparency? I know you have done some surveys, you have done some research of these massive recruitments of teachers under the current leadership, under the UPND government.
Yeah.
How would you rate transparency with these recruitments? Have they been fair? also not only just the massive recruitments, but also the teacher replacements.
Yeah.
How would you rate that?
I think for 2022, the 30,000, I think there was a lot of transparency. But the following year, I think you remember people demonstrating across the country. So we wrote to the Teaching Service Commission as NAQEZ to the effect that we wanted to monitor the teacher recruitment. We wanted to use our own resources, our own human resource, to go to districts and see what was being done. The Teaching Service Commission refused to allow us to monitor, and I also know that the Anti-Corruption Commission was not allowed also to monitor, for example, the 2024 teacher recruitment. And you saw what happened when that process took place. People demonstrated saying that the people that were recruited actually were not local people, because the policy is that if you stay in Mporokoso, you must be able to apply in Mporokoso so that you don't run away, because you know the social, the cultural and economic terrain of Mporokoso. But what we saw was a wave of demonstrations. We got into those districts, did our investigations. Indeed, the people that were being taken to Shangombo, to Mwenlunga, were not, some of them were not from those areas. They were recruited from Lusaka. How they got into those areas, we don't know. And therefore, I can safely say that we have not been happy with these other recruitments, apart from the 2022 version. And if the teaching service and the ministry will continue on that path of not being transparent, of not being accountable, because when you are doing teacher recruitment, it's a national exercise, and the more you invite stakeholders, the better for you, because stakeholders will be able to speak for you. But how would you refuse a voluntary gesture of actually monitoring the process? How do you do recruitment without oversight institutions? It beats us up to now.
So apart from the 30,000 teacher recruitment, these others
are not questionable.
There hasn't been transparency with the recruitment.
No. Even the replacements. You remember this year when the minister was announcing the 4,500 teacher recruitment, because there's a difference between there's a replacement and net recruitment. So what was announced early this year was supposed to be announced last year, 4,500. So the minister, Honorable Siakalima, announced that just this year, government was going to replace 2,400, and I'm sure you covered that that event. And the minister said that number was going to be published. And he said 2 weeks. That was again, I think it was in April. Yeah. May, June, I think in July we spoke, because we made follow-ups. We made follow-ups with the ministry, with the teaching service. We were not getting anything. So we spoke publicly. We asked for the ministry to release the list. What we followed was the minister just speaking against NAQEZ. It has no mandate to ask us to. It's not a union, and then we will not even publish.
Do you think that's also a problem?
It is a problem. When you are a minister, you are supposed to embrace all stakeholders. And when you promise that tomorrow we are releasing a list, you must be able to release or issue a public apology or explanation.
That's accountability.
That's accountability. So that's social accountability. So when you promise, you don't fulfill, and when people remind you, get annoyed, that becomes a problem. So the minister was supposed to explain why the names were not published. Because when you don't publish, you actually...
Speculation.
People will start speculating and there's corruption. Because in 2023 and 2024, the names for replacements were actually published. Why not publish for 2025?
So he said it's not like it's a mandate that the Teaching Service Commission should publish the list.
But why not publish?
And even up to now, the list has never been published. No. But we know replacements have happened.
Yes. And I've heard reports where people are reporting for work. all over the country. Even last time, they were reporting for work. Those that are under replacement.
But also, what's difficult about them just releasing a list?
There's nothing.
What's difficult?
There's nothing difficult, because I said in 2023 and 2024, if you check the names, there were those for under replacement. I have the papers in the office. There were those under replacements. So those were listed in the newspaper, but for 2025, the minister says no, will not publish. But the question is, why not publish for 2025? These are not difficult questions. If I ask you to say, where did you buy this phone? You can tell me that I bought them in a Mobile City or any other place. But it is more demanding for public sector. When you are recruiting people in the public service, transparency, accountability, and merit are very, very important. You must recruit based on merit. You must recruit based on transparency and accountability. Without those, then your replacement or your recruitment is questionable.
So the last teacher recruitment, you had volunteered as NAQEZ on your own bill,
yes,
to monitor the recruitment of teachers, and you're not given that leeway to say, okay, since you're doing it on your own bill, you're going to meet your own logistics, come forward. But they said no.
No, and we have a letter for that. Yeah. I was very shocked. I was hoping that the teaching service would be very happy because sometimes the excuse would be that we don't have money. But we said we have these coordinators in all the districts. NAQEZ has coordinators in those districts. We could have trained them and also sent them to those areas. You know, there are these now district human resource management committees that are trained to recruit teachers in districts. And there must be people to monitor what they are doing. So we hoped that the teaching service was going to be very happy to have NAQEZ as a monitoring partner. To our shock, the teaching service refused.
Okay, 0956-200-490. That's the number that you can give us a phone call for your contribution and question. Before we get to what you expect the president, the budget, your expectations of the budget, let's see if we can get some contributions. The number is 0956-200-490. That's the number that you can give us a call on, or your text message for your contribution and question. 0956-200-490. 0956-200-490. Good morning. Enjoying the program. Mr. Chansa, we are with you. Your organization won't be closed. This is coming through from Mark. Mark, thank you so much for your text message. This other one says, good morning. Enjoying the program. I have been a keen follower of NAQEZ, and the issue to do with unions is very true. There is need for unions to stand up more for teachers. Thank you so much. No name on this one, talking about how that agreeing with you when it comes to teacher unions. Hello, good morning. You are through to the program.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Auntie Dorothy. I'm calling from Kamwala.
Yes, Auntie Dorothy, go ahead with the contribution.
Good morning, Mama Ken.
Mulishani. Kabo too.
You're speaking very well.
Thank you.
At least you are not biased.
Thank you.
You are talking on behalf of the nation, because we have to develop this nation to go further.
Thank you. Thank you.
But to say something, I think UPND has done 3 things. You know, when you look at the recruitment which were happening in the past, there used to be secret. A driver would just take people here at Kamwala where I am. He charges people 10 who are not even qualified. But now, there's a lot of scrutiny. Although there are other hiccups which need to be corrected, UPND deserves the kudos. But they can do better. I'm UPND actually. I pray that, yes, they can do better, because this nation has to go further. Because HS will be there until 2031. He has to finish what he started. because the country is good right now, Mackenzie. As union are quiet. I'm a former banker who used to work for Zanaco. You know that one, that minister who was of HIV, whatever the name is called. He fired the people because Zupia was very powerful. When they say stay at home, you stay at home. But you know, teachers now, they are quiet. What is happening? Okay. We need to make the government work, to shake, not to be scared because you have a job. I think keep it up. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Auntie Dorothy, calling us from within Lusaka. Thank you so much for your contribution. 0956-200-490. Very quickly, this one says, I'm Mr. Green from Solwezi. Recruitment must be done locally. This is Mr. Green from Solwezi. Thank you so much, Mr. Green. Let's get another caller. Hello, good morning. You are through to the program.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Titus calling from Mushindamo, Northwestern Province.
Your name again?
Titus.
Titus.
It's Kaisar calling from Mushindamo, Northwestern Province.
All right, go ahead with the contribution.
Yes, I just want to add what our boss is saying there. It's very, very, very sad. Even in Mushindamo, the over 6,000 teachers which the government recruited in 2022. We have never seen even 2 years. The school are just empty. The boundary between Zambia and Congo. We don't have teachers here. Pupils are just rostering around the school area. So we don't have teachers here. And the other issue we are talking about is recruiting the locals from within the district. Also, in Mushindamo, there is some replacement. All the teachers from Ceres, they don't want to speak Kamonde, they don't want to speak Rafa. So we are having a challenge here, especially in Mushindamo and Soweto districts. That is my concern. Thank you very much. Well.
All right, thank you so much. I'm sure the doc will offer some advice there on that one. Hello, good morning. Your name and where you calling us from?
This is Walia from Kalolushi.
Yes, Walia. Go ahead with the contribution.
I was speaking Bemba. Well, on the case, I'm a keen follower of yours. You know, keep on speaking on behalf of teachers. Teachers are suffering. You know, teachers are suffering from all aspects of life. You know, they're.
Oh, we've lost Mkwai from Kalulushi. Let's see if we can pick up 2 more calls so that you respond to some of these concerns. 0956 200 490 0956 200 490. That's the number that you can call us on. See if we can get this caller. Hello, good morning. You are through to the program.
Yeah, good morning. Is it Christian Radio?
Yes, Radio Christian Voice. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, this is Aaron calling you from Dollar.
All right, Mr. Owen, are you just able to speak up?
Okay. No, I just want to give the kudos to the host, the one who hosted the big man there.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking the truth and the realities. That's how the human being supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
The issue of coming back to the issue of the teachers. Teachers, I think they've been neglected for quite a long time. Ever since they are not respected. In short, teachers are like our parents. What I'm trying to say in terms of beneficials, life is about crediting each other. Even if you are a parent, but at the end of the day, it's like it's a business. As a parent, you expect to to gain something out of from that person at the end of the day. Even if we pretend to, that's how it is. So now then, our teachers must be the first priority to be considered, and don't stop speaking for them on their behalf. Speak for them. They are doing the better job. Nangu. Even you and me who are there or who are here, we are here. We are here, and we are doing whatever we are doing just because of these teachers. So white teachers are not supposed to be respected as much as they do supposed to expect their respect from these leaders who come into power to do promises and whatever. So, like for the coming back against the...
Okay, all right. So we'll have to let you go. Thank you so much. We've got your contribution. We'll have to give a chance to others to call in. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
All right, let's get our last caller. Hello, good morning. You are through to the program.
Hello, Muli Pwande.
Buino, Mauka Bwanji.
Oh, Tauka Buino Kayawoke.
Doc, greeting to you.
Okay.
Your name and
how are you?
Yanga. Ivan Tintumira kwa Zanga. Na posha kuna watoku studio wa mene.
Zikomo.
Ine contribution yanga. Kapena ni funds, kapena ni kukamba kuli wadoku. Nikamba kwa chape kuti. Nezinambira pena mpamine mweze mwakamba kuti number 1 is anakulangigani kapena recruitment whatever. Ini number 2 wanakana kuti atiusaza chapa publicize kuti bashowini. So in that way, niona monga ati tira funds kuti there is no transparency. Kuti they are crooked and kunali bena recruitment in purpose that just to win in the political mileage. And those are just inflated figures so that vaoneke monga dokinisa kushenishi apo tirirongo tinamana ngvachirungamo. That's the question. Number 2, njakuti why simukamba paper point straight kukambila tuche muoneka monga kukamba kwanu musapotelako futi chani monga muliko na tumanta. Why simukamba yapati teacher recruitment ya last it was a fake in Boza. Why simunga kambe soba dofu.
All right. Vaivans Komokwambiri. Thank you so much, Vaivans. All right, because of time we'll have to leave it there. Very quickly, Doc, you can respond to some of the concerns, even as you get to your expectations of the budget on Friday. 5 minutes.
Yes. Firstly, I want to thank the people for the interest. I can see the phone is still buzzing. People want to call, and that shows that people want to share their views, especially on education. I remember Dr. Auntie Dorothy. She sounds to be very objective. She says she's UPND, but she wants unions to speak. She wants the best out of this country, which is very, very commendable. I would also want to have a very strong labor movement, a movement that speaks for the members, and I look forward to one day these people speaking for their members. Mushindamo, yes, I agree with you that that district needs teachers, and my advice is that you can go and see the minister or the permanent secretary in Sorwezi, or the provincial education officer, or the DEBS. Go and complain that you don't have teachers in your district, because without enough teachers, Mushindamo will not have quality education. There was also another one talking about the saying the truth, the last caller actually. I should not just be one-sided. Advocacy is about saying the truth. If indeed government has done something good, I think it's my responsibility to acknowledge it. I should not only point to the negatives. And if something is bad, as I said, it must be called the way it is. And I was very, very clear that only the 2022 recruitment was above board. I think that's what I said. But the other years, that's why we even wrote to them that we monitor. And I said, because they refused, even last year, even this year, there was no monitoring. And that's why I said that was not transparent. It was very bad. And that's why I said you saw people demonstrating in Northwestern, in Eastern, in South, everywhere. People were actually protesting, including the chiefs. I remember one of the officers for the DEBs was actually locked up. The chief in Mporokoso spoke. The chief in Eastern Province, I think one of the districts there, spoke that not his people were recruited. So these were bad in terms of practice, and we can't continue recruiting teachers in that fashion. We must be able to improve in terms of transparency, and we must also make sure that only those that are from certain areas. And when we say certain areas, we're not talking about tribalism. For example, when you are in Mporokoso, it's not every Bemba, it's not all the Bembas that are in Mporokoso. There are some people from other provinces that are grown up in Mporokoso. Those are local people. If I stay in Monze, I can speak Tonga. I know Monze very well. I'm a local person, and I must be considered in that area. Not what we are hearing about Mushindamo. You go to Mushindamo, you can't speak Kaonde. You don't know anything about Mushindamo. Very soon, those people will start to get transfers to get back into Lusaka and Copper Belt. That's not what we want. We want people that can stay there, help the pupils, and make this country move forward. Friday.
And before you get to Friday, someone says, good morning. I'm TM. My concerns are 1, no upgrade since 2018. 2, refusing to give vacation. I've worked for 14 years.
Which is very bad. Maybe that person can call me on 0979 55 2885. 0979 55 28 85. You can call me after 1 hour so that maybe I can give advice. But I also want to thank the messages that came supporting NAQEZ. Extremely humbled, and that gives me the energy, the encouragement to continue speaking for the teachers. I look forward to a day when this country will not have teachers complaining. We will have everybody upgraded. We will not have any learner sitting on the floor. That is my vision. I want to see a better country. And Friday, just after tomorrow, I will be sitting on the fence, waiting to hear from Dr. Musokotwane. I expect a good budget for education.
Are you honestly thinking, are your hopes high? Because already we've been told 2,000 teachers are going to be recruited. And for some in the education sector say we don't really expect much, seeing that maybe next year is also an election year, majority of the monies will go elsewhere. So for us, it's just teacher recruitment and we move on.
You know, when you are, for example, a Zambian and Zambia is playing, even when you know, for example, that we may lose, but for whatever reason, you have the confidence.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe in this country. I have confidence in this country. And next year being an election year, and teachers being very important, teachers make a difference.
Yeah.
I'm expecting something for teachers. Education being the best equalizer, as the president puts it. I also expect something unique about it. I also expect government to put money for teacher recruitment, teacher upgrades, construction of hostels at Unza. King Lewanika University in Mongu has stalled that project. It was started in 2012, 2013. Up to now, it's still a slab level. I want the UPND to begin to build that university. It's very important. There's also another one in Luapula, FTJ University. Nothing has been happening on that university. I want something for that. The new curriculum, this year there's 150 million kwacha to buy textbooks, to buy equipment. It's a very small drop in the ocean. At least if we can have 1.5 billion kwacha go into this project, I'll be very happy. We can't have a very good document without resources. We need to have resources in order to get educational dividends out of this document. So I'll wait. Of course, we are going to have a post-budget symposium on Monday next week to analyze the outcomes of this budget. In June, actually, we called the parliamentarians, Minister of Finance, Minister of Education, civil society. We had a meeting. We called it pre-budget symposium. We called all of them and submitted a position paper of what we wanted. So some of these things that I'm talking about, we have submitted already. And we hope that those things are going to be adopted.
Okay. All right. We'll have to leave it here. Thank you so much for coming through. And we can only wish you all the best, even as you continue to talk, about the plight of teachers and also just generally the education sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. Awesome. This is where we come to the end of the program. Thank you so much, everybody that texted, called, and also our Facebook viewers. Thank you so much. We come to the end of the program this morning. Up next, we have the news brief. Just after that, you can join Chipo with Wednesday's edition of Lifestyle. Good morning.